What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 99. One away from 100, which will be the record book show. Benji and I are planning to have that shot as soon as possible. But for now, we're going to dive right into the offseason, and with the offseason comes free agency. We've already seen a few guys sign, and today we're going to talk about where their landing spots are, what kind of money they're getting, and who else is out there for teams that haven't yet signed anybody. With me tonight from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, the Mets haven't done anything yet. What are you thinking we're going to do this offseason?
No. It's really interesting. I don't know because, this is a team with Steve Cohen, and his mega bucks at the helm. But I'm hearing that they're not going to, break the bank like they did last year and kind of go for more of the middle guys. So I don't think you should expect to see Ohtani in Queens. I don't think you should expect to see Blake Snell in Queens. I think you're looking at more of the kind of the middle guys, and we'll go through it, but kind of the Rhys Hoskins type guy. I'm not saying Rhys Hoskins is a guy that the Mets are going to sign, but kind of that realm, that kind of mid-tier level. So and trades, look, they built up the farm system. They may now have pieces that they can move to get some major league, talent ready for this year. So it's gonna be interesting to see. With Stearns now here, this is gonna be a very interesting offseason for our Mets.
No doubt, no doubt. And we are looking forward to it. I know Yankee fans around the world are waiting for the Yankees to answer this 82 and 80 season and go out and sign like 3 dudes. So we'll see if that's going to be a thing. The one thing and the many things that we do know for certain, let's start with the big fish. Aaron Nola re-signs in Philadelphia, 7 years, $172 million. No opt-outs and a full no trade clause. So he is going to be there until the end of this deal. And it just makes sense. Like, it was the biggest layup, I think, of the offseason, and that's why it was the first one to get done. It just sort of felt like he wanted to be there. The Phillies needed him, and they had the money to go do it.
Yeah, I read that he took less money. He had bigger offers from other teams. I didn't hear what teams they were, but he had bigger deals out there, and he chose to stay with the Phillies. So, yeah, he's going to be a lifer because this is a 7-year deal. He's already 30. I think I think we've already started to see a little bit of a decline in him already here in the late 20s. So, this will probably be this will take him to his end of his career, I think.
Yeah, this locks him up for the rest of his prime and the beginning of the end of his career. If he signs a 1-year deal somewhere else after this, fine. But like, if he's gonna be a Hall of Fame player, he's gonna do it in Philadelphia, in a Philadelphia uniform. At the bare minimum, I think he's pretty much established himself to go into whatever the Ring of Fame or retired numbers is. But
sure.
This is going to be the big contract here for him. The Braves went ahead and signed Ronaldo Lopez, 3 years, $30 million to be another piece in the back end of their bullpen. The reason I bring this one up next is because other than that Cardinals guy that we'll talk about in a moment, it's the largest contract that's been signed so far. So 3 years, 30 on Raylo. How you feeling about him on the back end of the Braves?
Yeah, and with him, I'm reading that he may not be a bullpen piece. He may be a swing man. He may be they may even stretch him out to be a starter, which I think is interesting because he used to be a starter with the White Sox back in the day. And you know what? Their rotation is probably their weak point at this stage. We know what their offense can do. We know their bullpen, even without Lopez, is stacked. So if this is a way to address their rotation without spending mega bucks on a Blake Snell, on a Jordan Montgomery, this could be an interesting signing for them.
Yeah, I think it's at the bare minimum with that Pierce Johnson, the left-handed guy whose name escapes me, AJ Minter, Joe Jimenez, and Raisel Iglesias. This is going to be a pretty nasty bullpen. It feels like that was their weak point this year, was the bullpen specifically. It was something that Frank Bucco talked a lot about, that if the Braves were going to lose, they weren't going to be able to close games out. Now they're getting guy after guy after guy that's had a pretty decent season. They just traded for Aaron Bummer too, by the way, in case you didn't see that one. That's another piece in that bullpen. So their bullpen is becoming quite a nice, formidable group, and that appear that they're going to be together at least the next couple of years. The Detroit Tigers made a signing of Kenta Maeda this just in the last couple of days. 2 years, $24 million. The question I've always had with Kenta Maeda is health. However, I certainly love the landing spot, and he could be a dude that I look toward in the late rounds of the bigs. How are you feeling about this landing spot of Detroit?
Yeah, he's going to be kind of under the radar, I think, here in Detroit. And we talked about this in our group chat with Mike and Ben, that I feel like his team trajectory has kind of gone down. He started with the Dodgers, gets traded to the Twins, and now he's with the Tigers, who, yes, I understand they finished in second place last year, but
Thank
in
you.
a
Put
very,
some respect on the Tigers. They finished second in that
in a very
division
weak
last year.
division. I don't know how that division is going to shake out this year, but look, he's a stabilizing, as long as he's healthy, he's a stabilizing presence for this very, very young rotation with Tariq Skubal, Matt Manning, Casey Mize. So he's a guy who can kind of be a veteran presence for this team. He just has to stay on the mound. So that's been the real bugaboo with him.
And that's the thing. I don't think they're done here. I don't think that this is the only pitcher that they're going to sign this offseason. I think there's going to be another one at some point. We'll get into what options are out there as the show continues. The final team we're going to talk about is the St. Louis Cardinals, who just went crazy this offseason already. They've signed 3/5 of their rotation. So it's Miles Mikolas, I guess Matthew Liberatore, and now, first up, back to St. Louis goes Lance Lynn, 1 year, $11 million, alongside Kyle Gibson, 1 year, $12 million, and their big fish this offseason, Sonny Gray, 3 years, $75 million. So Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, Matthew Liberatore, and Miles Mikolas. How are you feeling about that 5 in St. Louis?
Yeah, it's an interesting grouping. I sent a little meme around to everybody that I saw on social today of these 4 guys who are old. They're all in their mid-30s, if not older. And it's an interesting grouping. But you look at what they did, in 2023 when the team just kind of just absolutely tanked. They traded away Jordan Montgomery. They traded away Jack Flaherty. So they had to rebuild this rotation. Adam Wainwright's retired. So there's the 3 guys that they've lost. They just replaced in 2 weeks. So it's a very interesting way to go about. We haven't even reached the winter meetings yet, and they've already addressed the rotation, which is what they said they were going to do. They knew that they had to come out here and sign new pitchers, and that was their strategy, and they did it.
The interesting thing I have to say about this is Lance Lynn gave up the most home runs in baseball last year. Miles Mikolas, I think, gave up the most runs in baseball last year, and Kyle Gibson gave up the most hits in baseball last year. And that's 3/5 of your rotation. And you brought in Sonny Gray. That's nice, and he's a nice piece to have there. I just don't know that he's like the ace that you're kind of penciling him in to be. He's had he had a nice season in Cincinnati. He had a nice season in Minnesota, but to put him at the top of this rotation, it does give me some trepidation.
Yeah, I don't look at him as an ace. I look at him as a good, number 2, number 3, but to put him as your horse, as your ace, we'll see. I mean, stranger things have happened, but I would be a little worried as a Cardinals fan.
That's the guys who have signed. I mean, we're probably stepping over guys like Paul DeYoung and some other minor league dudes who have signed deals. But like realistically, these are the big names that we're going to be paying attention to in 2024. Bigger names are yet to sign, and we're going to see them fly off the board. But we wanted to get this show done so that you guys could make your own predictions, because we made a whole bunch of predictions. There are 77 that we're tracking this year. I'm not going to go through all 77. That would be ridiculous. But we are going to hit on probably one every position, and a bunch a bunch of pitchers, because it's a pitcher heavy class this year. Obviously, the biggest name, Shohei Ohtani. Almost all of us are feeling him going to the Dodgers, with Frank feeling he's going to the Yankees, and you've got him going to Texas, Jason.
Yeah, right now I have him as Texas. I just feel like the Rangers, coming off of their World Series victory, like they're going to be licking their chops to do whatever they can to improve their team. And look, Ohtani's not going to be pitching in 2024. We know this.
Right.
He's still one of the greatest hitters in the league right now, if not the greatest hitter in the league right now. Like, if you're going to have a chance to repeat as World Series champion after winning your first one ever, why not go after this guy? We know that they'll spend money. Let's see it.
Listen, everybody is in on this guy. There's no wrong pick here. There's no team that, unless you're picking the Pirates, like the Pirates aren't going to spend the money. The A's aren't going to spend the money. But like, there is no wrong big market team here to go in on Ohtani, because it's the guy. Yeah, you're right. He's not going to pitch in 2024, which I think is going to be interesting to see how much money he actually makes, given that he's coming off of Tommy John surgery, and given that he's not going to pitch until the following year. And who knows how good he's going to be coming off of Tommy John. Yes, we've seen a lot of pitchers come back from it, but there's no guarantee ever for this thing. So he could potentially be done as a pitcher for all we know. Let's hope not. We want to see more of this. We want to see exactly what we've seen over the last couple of years, with the most ridiculous video game numbers ever. The big pitching names this year are coming over from Japan, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. A lot of people are feeling this guy's going to land in New York somewhere. It's just whether he goes to New York on the Yankees or he goes to the Mets. And if there's a bidding war, I don't see how the Mets lose that.
Right. I don't think so either. I think if this is the guy that they really want, they're going to get him. Like, same thing happened with Kodai Senga last year. Mm-hmm. And I think that does give them a leg up. He's a countryman. They know each other. That's why I am picking the Mets. It wouldn't surprise me to see him go to the Yankees. Hell, it wouldn't even surprise me to see him go to the Dodgers or even the Giants. But I have him going to the Mets.
I have him going to the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees are going to be outbid this year unless it's Uncle Steve. And I think they're going to go out and get a pitcher, a hitter, and maybe even two hitters, because Brian Cashman has to answer for an 82-80 season. So go out and spend this money and make sure that you lock up a playoff spot this year. For what it's worth, this kid is 25 years old, and for the last 3 seasons, he's won Japan's equivalent of the Cy Young. So this is absolutely a kid in his prime, coming over at the right time. Somebody is going to spend a massive amount of money on this guy, and this could be the next, like, Yu Darvish is what we're looking at here, as a long-term, like, ace front of the rotation type guy.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I'm curious to see, is because other than Shohei, and I guess Yu Darvish to an extent, there really hasn't been a Japanese pitcher to come over to have any kind of extended success.
Masahiro Tanaka?
Like, 2-3 years and he's back in Japan. Like he I'm talking like a guy to come over and become the ace. Like, I mean, Hideo Nomo was good for a flash in the pan. He was good for a couple of years. Yusei Kikuchi came over with fanfare. He hasn't been great. Like, there hasn't been even, like Jimin Wang came over from China. Like, he was okay. Like,
I'm going to continue to back up that Masahiro Tanaka pick. That's 6 years. He spent 6 years on the Yankees. 7 if you count the 48 innings he threw in 2020.
Okay.
3.74 ERA, 78 wins, 46 losses. 990 strikeouts to 1,000.
That's one. Yeah, that's one out of what, 15? Like,
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
counting Ohtani again
Senga's
because he is a
Senga was
unicorn.
good this
But
past year. Daisuke had one nice year. Um, Yusei Kikuchi is pitching okay right now. There's a few mediocre guys, but you're right. There hasn't really been that ace of a staff other than Darvish and Ohtani.
yeah,
Speaking
yeah,
of ace of staffs, man, the NL Cy Young is a free agent in Blake Snell. It's all over the place where guys think he's going to land this year, especially in and around the pod here. We've got Red Sox, Dodgers, Phillies, Padres, Giants, plenty of options out there. Jason, you've got him landing on the Dodgers.
yeah. Again, he can go to any of these teams. Right now, it's still kind of anybody's ball game. But I think the Dodgers, coming off of a season where they made the playoffs, but they got walloped by the Diamondbacks in the postseason. Uh, Clayton Kershaw is out for at least half the season, and he's a free agent. So I don't know what his deal is. Outside of Walker Buehler, who's coming back from Tommy John surgery himself, right now the rotation is Bobby Miller, Ryan Pepio, Ryan Yarbrough, and Emmett Sheehan. If I'm the Dodgers,
Yeah, they're
I'm
signing
looking
guys.
for a frontline pitcher to make it so that Buehler doesn't have to be the guy coming back from Tommy John surgery. Why not Blake Snell?
Yeah, no, it's a completely good idea. You've watched this dude play in San Diego the last couple of years. There's no reason to believe that he wouldn't go to the Dodgers if they offered him the most money. I have him going back to the AL East and playing for the Red Sox because the Red Sox are in that same situation, right? It's Chris Sale and maybe Tanner Houck and maybe Garrett Whitlock and
Ryan
not a whole
Bayo.
lot else. Not a whole lot of Brian Bayo. Like that's their future is Brian Bayo. They need another guy. They need
Yeah.
somebody. I like the Red Sox to go get a guy that they saw play in Tampa for a long time.
Okay.
The next name is Julio Urias, who we all believe isn't going to play in the major leagues next year. Go look it up. Don't worry about it. Jordan
Yep.
Montgomery is the next big name, and I like him to go back to the Rangers, but you've got him coming to our Mets. You like him, huh?
I do. He's an innings eater. He's a guy you can put out there, and even if he's not great, he's solid, and he can eat up the innings, get you 6, 7, 8 innings, and get you to your bullpen. Edwin Diaz is coming back, so like I like him as the Mets. I don't know that they're going to get him and Yamamoto, so I'm kind of reserving the right to change that.
Yeah,
Based
you're
on what
hedging your
happens,
bet that
but
they'll get one of them.
exactly, yeah, and I think they will. I think they could get one of them and beef up the rotation because again, them too. Their rotation is Senga and Quintana, and then a bunch of what's like. So
Right.
I'm definitely looking for them to get a frontline starter here.
In the last two seasons, he's gone 19 and 17 with an ERA south of 3.5 over almost 400 innings in those 2 years combined. It's a nice little run he's been on. I'm absolutely shocked that the Yankees were like, nah, we need Harrison Bader more.
And
We
that's
need
it.
Harrison Bader for this guy.
He's pitched in New York before, so he knows the market. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do well with the Mets.
Yeah, a 3.34 ERA over the last 2 years across three different teams. Across the AL and the NL. It's yeah, it's incredible what he's done since leaving New York because New York was where he was the worst. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get paid. That's going to be a really nice one. Bunch of middle tier guys here after that. Lucas Giolito, Jack Flaherty, James Paxton, Michael Waka, Carlos Carrasco. Any of those guys jump out to you?
I'd be curious to see where Lucas Giolito goes, only because we know him and Ronaldo Lopez are a pair. So I wonder if the Braves are like looking at a Giolito signing. I have him going to the back to the Guardians, but just because I think that they're going to need pitching, especially if they're talking about trading Shane Bieber possibly. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I see you have him going to the Braves. So
I do.
maybe the Giolito Ronaldo is a real a real combo deal.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the Braves were going to be signing a starting pitcher. I guess if Ronaldo Lopez really is that answer, or the trade that they just made, they sent Kyle Wright to the Royals and picked up former first rounder Jackson Kawar. So like maybe that dude's going to be in the rotation. They've also got a nice young farm system as well with a few guys, and Ian Anderson's going to be coming off of Tommy John surgery this year. So there's options, but I just thought that maybe they'd want to get something a bit more secure, something a bit more established. And that's why I got Giolito going there on a 1 year deal. I figured a 1 year deal, let him have a nice season, and then go into the off season and get another deal. As for
Yep, I can
position
see it.
players this year, we should also talk about some of the other pitchers that became free agents after the non-tender, because the biggest name, Brandon Woodruff, is out there now. Now, he's not going to pitch in 2024 either. He just had shoulder surgery. But you could see this guy getting signed to like a 2 year deal, with the second year being the prove it year and the first year just being
Yep.
like get well. Um,
Yeah.
I actually like the Yankees to do this dumb thing.
Okay.
I
Doesn't
mean,
seem
go
like their
figure.
style.
Right? I mean, it doesn't seem, but at the same time, like they did Frankie Montas and they've done some of these other bad, like Woodruff is at least established where he's had good seasons. I don't know. I reserve the right to
I,
change that answer,
I
but
I'm picking Tampa. I'm thinking of a Tyler Glass now kind of thing where especially if they do trade him, I can see that becoming a thing.
okay. We've also got guys like Dakota Hudson, who didn't get a contract, Martin Perez, Alex Wood, Mike Clevenger, Michael Lorenzen, Jake Odorizzi, and Noah Syndergaard. Before I get to the other overseas imports, including that one guy. That one guy.
That
But
one
any of
guy.
those other names jump out to you?
Not really. I think they're all kind
Didn't
of
think so.
I guess Noah Syndergaard might be an interesting bounce back candidate, because we know what he's capable of if he's healthy and if he's effective.
Mm-hmm.
That just has neither of those things have been the case for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So, but I think he's still young and talented enough in the right environment. I picked a Texas. I figure maybe he wants to join DeGrom, and reunite with him. So
Mm-hmm.
I see that being maybe a interesting bounce back candidate for Texas.
I've got him and Dakota Hudson both going to the Rockies because the Rockies don't spend money on pitching. So give them 1 year deals for, Dakota Hudson's a ground ball specialist and Noah's trying to rekindle his career. This might be the last stop at this point. He might not even get a major league deal, if I'm brutally honest. Like he's been really bad, really, really
Yeah.
bad. And I don't know that he's going to get a major league contract. Speaking of maybe not getting a major league contract, Trevor Bauer is sniffing back around, and like he had a really nice season in Japan for what it's worth. He's a year removed from all of the allegations of which he was never indicted on a charge. Come to find out that girl wasn't exactly being completely truthful. You can go ahead and look it all up. That's the long and short of it. The question is, does he get a major league job or not? You've got him on the Long Island Ducks. Jay's got him going back to Japan. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like seeing what he did in Japan this past year, I think he could get a job.
Yeah. I had the Ducks. It's a silly answer. I haven't really seen any rumors about him to this point. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, other than he's like you say, he's sniffing around. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. So I'm putting the
Mm-hmm.
Ducks for now, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens with
Post
him.
the new year, something like that.
Yeah.
I can see him being like a February signing or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
late in the off season.
Yeah. If somebody gets injured in spring training or something. The other Japanese
Yeah.
import this season is going to be Shota Imanaga. I've been told that he's more a reliever than he is a starter, so I think that's going to be interesting to see where he lands. But we shall see with that guy. Moving to
The
Marcus
other
Stroman's a free
the other
agent.
Marcus Stroman and Eduardo Rodriguez. I think those are the other two starters we should hit on because those
Yeah.
guys are going to get paid,
Yeah.
especially
Stroman's going to get
Stroman.
paid. And I think he's going to come back
Yeah.
to New York. I think that's a Yankee.
Okay,
Isn't he from New
we'll
York?
see. He's from New York. He's from New York.
Hmm.
I right now I'm picking Baltimore. I feel like he's a good guy to stabilize that young rotation. Because other than Grayson Rodriguez and Kyle Bradish, they just lost Kyle Gibson. So I feel like Stroman kind of fits that mold of like these veterans that they bring in to help
Hmm.
stabilize the young rotation. I could see him. They're finally a winning team, so he is a winner. I could see him going to Baltimore.
Okay. And Eduardo Rodriguez, I mean, strong lefty. You've loved this guy the last couple of years in Detroit, and now he's going to be able to get paid and go somewhere that he wants to be. I think it's going to be somewhere on the East Coast. I initially had him landing in Baltimore for much the same reason that you were just talking about with Stroman. Now I'm sort of leaning toward the Braves, and I get the feeling like that might be a real good landing spot for him for all of the reasons that we've talked about anybody else being a good spot.
Yeah, yeah, and I do need to update this because I have him. I had him going to the Phillies, and I think that was before they re-signed Nola.
Mm-hmm.
So look, but you're right. Even the Yankees could be in on him. They've seen him so many times in Boston. So I like, and again, they need to do something with their rotation. I can see them plugging him in as number three behind Cole and Rodon. So yeah, I'll go with the Yankees for right now.
If they sign Eduardo Rodriguez, it's just admitting that they fucked up on Jordan Montgomery because I feel like those two guys are fairly comparable. I think it's
Hmm.
a poor man's Jordan Montgomery in getting Eduardo, and yeah, you would just be essentially saying, yeah, we kind of screwed up on that. We should have just kept Jordan Montgomery and not gone after Harrison Bader, who's also a free agent this year and has walked off the team. Great job, guys. Great
Yep.
job. Position players. All right, let's start at first base. There's only a couple of them that of note this year. You mentioned Reese Hoskins, CJ Crone, and Carlos Santana are also available there. Um, I got CJ Crone going back to the Rockies. I think that's a slam dunk, easy layup because he was so good there and bad everywhere else.
Yeah. First of all, I do want to mention that, and I've read this before too, that the hitting class of this free agent is just awful.
It's terrible.
Like it's terrible. Like as a whole, that there's like maybe an all-star or two in it, and like that's about it. So,
Yeah.
but yes, I agree with you. I think CJ Cron comes back here to Denver. They need a first baseman. He's a power hitter. He's been here before, and he's been successful here. I don't see
Mhm.
why he would go anywhere else.
Yeah, Reese Hoskins is coming off of the ACL tear that happened in spring training, cost him the entire season, and then the Phillies went out and replaced him with a $300 million dude named Bryce Harper, who's now just going to play first base for them. And thank you for your service, Reese Hoskins. I've got him going to the Brewers. I think that's probably a decent idea. They did cut Rowdy Tellez. They don't really have an option there right now, and they're going to have to sign somebody to play it. So as for Carlos Santana, I've got him going to the Nationals. I think he might. I think he might end up being the new Dom Smith, who's a free agent as well. So, Jason, you have Reese Hoskins going to the Cubs and Carlos Santana back to the Brewers. How are you feeling about those picks?
Yeah, I think Reese Hoskins makes sense for the Cubs. Right now they have Matt Mervis as their first baseman of the now. And I think a guy like Reese Hoskins is, a step above like a Trey Mancini who they just let go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he fits in this lineup really well. Um and Santana, I don't know. He's been to Brewers before. I feel like he likes going to repeat teams. Maybe he goes back to Pittsburgh. I don't know. I don't really care about Carlos Santana.
Yeah, I've got him going to the Nationals to be the new Dom Smith because Dom Smith was released. So, and like you said, man, these hitter options are not great. Adalberto Mondesi's a free agent. I've got him going back to the Royals. Gross.
I have him to the White Sox because why not? Like I feel like he's like an Elvis Andrus kind of guy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, their second
Mm-hmm.
baseman options are garbage. So if he's still something, maybe there's something in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, probably your best hitters are going to be Matt Chapman, Cody Bellinger, and Teoscar Hernandez. Like those are probably your best like
Those are
all
the
around.
top three, and then
Yeah.
there's guys like Justin Turner and Whit Merrifield and Mitch Garver available. Um, but that's not great. Cody Bellinger's probably the cream of the crop when it comes to the bat, and I'm pretty sure he's going to end up in pinstripes.
Uh, that seems to be the going rate. I have him there too.
Yeah, it's kind of the consensus across the group that we've polled so far. 4 out of the 6 of us have taken the Yankees to land Cody Bellinger. Matt Chapman interests me because I had him initially going to the Diamondbacks. I felt like that lended itself to a nice marriage there with Chapman being the free agent, Diamondbacks going to the World Series with Evan Longoria, and now they shipped him off. So let's see a new third baseman. Oh wait, here's Eugenio Suarez. What? You went with that guy? All
Yeah.
right. So I've got Matt Chapman going to the Mariners now.
Yeah. That's a good fit. Because I don't think Luis Urias is the guy to be third base for the Mariners long term. But I do have Chapman going back to the Blue Jays. They really liked him. Their offense needs help without him. I think he makes sense as a reunion.
You know, it's funny. Everybody seems to think Matt Chapman had this like great season this past year. He had a really nice April and an okay May, and that's it.
Yeah.
He was bad for 4 months. Like it was not a good year for Matt Chapman.
It's
That
gonna be
being
interesting to see
said,
what he
he's still
gets.
going to get paid.
Yeah. Because he's a power hitter who can play third base, strikes out a ton, but that's baseball these days. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna get paid.
And Gold Glove defense. Like he is a
Yeah.
master at third base with the glove. So that's certainly going to get paid. I have Teoscar Hernandez going back to the Mariners. You've got him going to the D-backs to replace Lourdes Gurriel?
Yeah, I mean, again, we've known, it's been documented that they're very left-handed, so he would provide some right-handed thump, to
Mm-hmm.
go along with Christian Walker. Um, Again, they surprised everybody and made it to the World Series, so I think they need to work on improving, and we're landing a guy like Teoscar would be huge for them. Right now, their right fielder is Jake McCarthy. Their DH is Dominic Fletcher. Like he would be a massive improvement to this lineup, and I think they could do it.
Yeah, those two guys are not going to be the opening day left fielder and DH. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, Teoscar Hernandez. Ben's got him going to the Red Sox, which I think is really interesting.
yeah,
Um, if he's going to be playing there. Frank says to the Blue Jays, which would bring him back to the team he broke in with, really.
yeah,
And we also have a Minnesota Twins edition here. Although I'm not gonna poo-poo it, but I'm also gonna say like the Twins are really young and they don't really need an outfielder.
yeah. I mean, unless they feel like like Byron Buxton is like washed,
Yeah, but
um,
Buxton, Kepler, and
like
oh my god, I'm blanking on the third guy.
Trevor Larnach or something like that.
Yeah, or Alex Kirilloff or what have you.
Yeah, yeah. Toronto's an interesting pick though, like because again, like that offense is gonna need help. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
like their outfield is Springer and Dalton Varsho and Nathan Lukes, and like that's a starting outfield. So,
Mm-hmm.
and their DH right now they have Danny Jansen as their DH. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that doesn't sound great. I think they could use a bat in there, especially at the DH position. But they could also just as soon go out and get some of these other names. I have them getting Jock Peterson, to be honest with you. I think that's a great fit. Left-handed bat to sort of offset all of the right-handedness that exists in that lineup, other than like
yeah,
Dalton Varsho. They had Brandon
Gavin
Belt as a
Newsom.
left-handed DH option this past year. That wasn't great. This is, I would think, a step up from that.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a fair point. I like that.
The other side of that coin is JD Martinez, the right-handed DH only guy. I have him go to the Angels because I think the Angels need a bat after losing, I don't know, Shohei fucking Ohtani. And it was their DH, so there you go. Plug it
But they
right
have
in.
Anthony Rendon.
Right. So they need somebody who's actually going to play baseball. Because Rendon hasn't played baseball in, I think, 4 calendar fucking years.
I think
Like
you're right.
2019, he had an amazing year, and that's it.
That's it.
Because he became a
I have
free agent
JD
after
going.
that.
I have JD going to the Marlins. He's from Miami.
Mhm.
He's at the twilight of his career. I feel like this would be a cool homecoming for him. They're a team that is up and coming. Um, and he would be a good complement to these left-handed bats and Jazz Chisholm and Jesus Sanchez, to add some righty thump in there. I could see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. I like that landing spot for them as well. I mean, Yuli Gurriel was kind of the piece that you're describing,
Yeah,
and he's now gone, replaced by Josh Bell at first base. This could be the DH replacement. Jorge Soler's also not there. He's also a free agent this year.
exactly.
So again, they're going to need some sort of bats. This could be that piece. Um, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Tommy Pham, two of the heroes of the Diamondbacks, are also free agents. I've got Lourdes going to the Astros, where his brother used to play, and I got Tommy Pham going to the Giants. You've also got him going to the Giants. Why
Yeah,
you like that fit?
I like the fit of Pham in San Francisco. I feel like yeah, I know that the Giants are trying to improve their defense, and he's not a wizard out there in the outfield, but he can stick it. He can play out there.
Mhm.
And he again he brings a righty bat to complement Mike Yastrzemski and Michael Conforto, and basically replaces no, Michel Grisel there. Well,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. It just feels like a giant signing to me.
It would fit in with all the platoons they're doing. Like if you're going to do a platoon of Haniger and Conforto, well then you could probably do another one of Tommy Pham and Mike Yastrzemski.
Right.
I think you're on the right track here. I think they will sign an outfielder or at least use some sort of outfield platoon. Maybe Austin Slater still sticks around there. I don't know. Going back to Anthony Rendon real quick, it did bother me quite a bit. I was like, how many games has he played in the past 4 calendar years? Right? He only had 60 to play in 2020. He did play 52 of those for the Angels. So like, I guess that's something. But from 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, he's played a grand total of exactly 200 games. That is 50 games per year, obviously. And he only had 60 of them in 2020. In 2019, when the Nationals won the World Series, he hit 319, 34 homers, 126 RBIs. In the 4 calendar years since, he has hit 249 with 22 homers and 111 RBIs. It is bad. It is so bad. It's one of the worst
Yeah.
contracts ever.
Yeah.
And how long is he signed for? Oh, it's another 3 seasons. 3 seasons.
Ugh. Ugh.
It's gross.
Ugh.
It's gross. They probably could use somebody like, I don't know, Justin Turner or Heimer Candelario. Somebody's going to the Blue Jays. One
Yeah.
of those two is going to the Blue Jays.
If Matt Chapman doesn't resign, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Moving to the bullpen, my friend. We've got 3 big names here in the bullpen: Josh Hader, Craig Kimbrell, and David Robertson. Whose bullpen gets immediately upgraded with Josh Hader? You've got him going to the Yankees.
Yeah. I don't know if Clay Holmes is really the answer. If I'm a Yankee fan, I would be over the moon to get Josh Hader and have Clay Holmes be the setup guy. Um, yeah, I think he fits there. I think they've needed an anchor in that
Mm.
role. Aroldis Chapman tried to do that. It kind of worked, and then it kind of didn't. So I like Josh Hader in the Yankees.
I wonder how Yankee fans would feel if their offseason was something like Hader Bellinger, Stroman. Right?
Yeah.
If it was those three, how would they feel instead of getting Ohtani and Yamamoto and the biggest names? They would have the best hitter because I just feel like Cody Bellinger, the Yankees, is a lock.
Yeah.
Like, other than Aaron Nola going back to Philadelphia, I feel like I'm most confident in Cody Bellinger going to the Yankees.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. And literally it's on the right field wall, because that's where he's going to hit all his home runs to.
Mm-hmm.
I think if that's their offseason, if I'm a Yankee fan, I got to be happy with that.
Okay. I hope so. I would love to hear from our Yankee fan friends out there. Uh, Again, the names were Bellinger, Hader, and Stroman, rather than Yamamoto or Ohtani or any of the big names. You guys kind of
Like Snell.
yeah, you don't get that guy. Craig Kimbrell is an interesting one because this guy has played in like everywhere. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
played in so many places. I wonder where he's going to land for his next job. I've actually got him going back to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Because unless they're finally ready to give the job to Sir Anthony Dominguez, and nothing says that they are.
I think they're giving the job to Jose Alvarado.
That's interesting.
I think that's the play.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lefty fireballer, the sinker. Like, he just screams closer. I have him going to Baltimore.
I like it. I do. I like it a
Felix
lot.
Bautista is out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yennier Cano was really good last year until he was plugged into that closer role, and then he was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So having a guy like Kimbrel kind of plug that hole, even if it's just for 1 year, maybe even a 2-year deal, I think he'll be a great stabilizing presence for that bullpen.
I agree. And I like it for the same reasons. You know what I mean? Like, I like the idea that he's going to be there only for while Bautista's out or a year after that, The final one is David Robertson. I've got him going to the Rangers. You've got him going to the Royals to replace Barlow, who's not there anymore.
Sure. I don't know that he's going to be as effective. I know we loved what we saw in the first 2 months or so, 2 or 3 months in New York. He was terrible when he got traded to the Marlins. He's what, 38 now, I think he is. So like, yeah, I could see him getting a 1-year deal from the Royals, kind of like right now their closer is James MacArthur. So like, he would be a guy to just have, like, just throw in there, and maybe the Royals make a splash, and maybe they're rolling through April and May, and they trade him, like they always do.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
So
When I'm thinking that they're going to do that, something like that. They did it with Aroldis Chapman this past year, who, by the way, I have going to the Rockies as well,
exactly.
because why the hell not? Aroldis Chapman is a free agent. Hector Neris, Jordan Hicks, some of the other smaller bullpen pieces. Any of those jump out to you?
I'm curious to see where Jordan Hicks lands, because I'd like to see him have like a role. Like, he was bounced around in St. Louis, starter, closer, middle reliever, like setup guy. Like, see if he can land somewhere, where he can be just have a role. And I think the Phillies is an interesting spot for him, because I think he could back up Jose Alvarado, but be the 8th inning guy and not have Sir Anthony Dominguez be that guy, because I think Jordan Hicks is better.
I have him coming to us. I have him coming to the Mets. Let him be the 8th inning guy for Diaz.
I would love it.
Yeah. We need bullpen dudes. Like, we're going to need bullpen dudes. Adam Ottavino ain't there no more.
Yeah. And Drew Smith, I don't know what Drew Smith is anymore. So.
I don't think he's anything. I think we've seen what Drew Smith is. I think we've seen enough of Drew Smith to know that we're not going to get anything more out of this.
Yeah.
Any other names on our list jump out to you, man, that you want to talk about?
Let's see. Whit Merrifield. I also have him going to the Yankees. I feel like he's like another IKF guy that they can bounce around the diamond.
That makes sense to me if they moved Gleyber Torres.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they move Gleyber Torres and you put Whit Merrifield at second base or whatever, figure out how to work that in. I like that.
Yeah. Seth Lugo. You have Seth Lugo going to Minnesota.
Dude, I would love that.
I had him go to the Cardinals. I gotta fix that because he ain't going to St. Louis anymore.
Mm-hmm. I actually love the idea of Lugo going to the Twins.
Yeah.
So since they lost Sonny Gray, they're going to need somebody else to backfill that. Because right now it's Louis Varland and some other Chris Paddock as they're 4 and 5 right now. Right? It's Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, Bailey Ober, Louis Varland, and Chris Paddock. Get out of here. They're signing somebody. But I really like Lugo going to Minnesota. You're going to tell me that dude isn't going to lengthen a rotation? He had a really nice season that nobody is going to talk about because he's Seth Lugo and what did he prove by being the 4 starter in San Diego on a bad team? Well, what if I told you his ERA was 3.57 across 150 innings? I was saying this all along, like when he was reliever for us, like I want to see what 150 innings, I want to see what 180 innings is of this guy. Well, if it's this, I want this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put him on Minnesota. Put him with Pablo. It'll be fun.
That's cool. I like it. I think the only one we didn't mention also was the other guy, the Jung-Hoo Lee, the other import coming in from Korea. He's gonna be an interesting signing. You have him going to Seattle. I have him going to San Francisco because, again, I've read that the Giants want to improve their outfield defense, and I've read that this guy is really good out in center field. He's a really good defensive center fielder. So I'm right now I'm picking the Giants. I haven't heard much else of who he's actually been connected to. So I'm going with the Giants.
I do love that you also have Kevin Kiermaier going to the Giants, hedging the bet that they're going to sign a defensive center fielder. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, we forgot to mention that the Jason Hayward signed with the Dodgers 1 year, $9 million. He's going back. So good job, Jason Hayward. That's a great way to put a bow on it. Jason, thanks so much for being here with me, man.
Absolutely. We're just getting started. We're at the tip of the iceberg for free agency, and I can't wait to see how this shapes up. Trades are going to start getting wild. I can feel it. It's gonna be a fun off season, and spring training will be here before you know it.
No doubt. We are less than 3 months away from pitchers and catchers. That'll be fun. And you know what? If there's a big trade or something big that happens, we'll probably jump on for an emergency meeting and just record for the fun of it, just to talk shit about the trade or what have you. Because there's a possibility Juan Soto gets traded this year again. That's going to be kind of nuts. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Next episode is going to be our record book. I look forward to doing that. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.